Alright guys, so today we're going to talk a little bit about when you're sending a pitch, why your pitch is getting shot down, right? You write an amazing article, your article is great, I mean you put your heart into it, your passions into it, you share stuff, and you pitch it to an editor, and then he comes back and says, thank you so much for your submission, while your article is very insightful, blah blah blah. Unfortunately, it is not a fit for our site. We encourage you to continue sending us more pitches in the future, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, what the heck? Like, why? You know? So, if that's happening to you, hey man, I can relate. I can relate to that. I've gotten shot down from so many publications before. And so over the years, getting shot down from more than, I think, like 200 different large websites that I've pitched to, I've learned a few things. Okay, so I'm going to talk about some of these things that I've learned, and hopefully it'll help you tailor your pitch in a way that makes a little bit more sense. So let's talk about it. The first thing that I noted is that I've been turned down from 200 of these publications. That should automatically let you guys know that I tried a lot. So step one, pitch to many pubs. Okay, that's the first thing, is that you want to pitch to a lot of places, because chances are you're going to get turned down a lot. That's just the reality of it. It doesn't matter if you're the best writer in the world, you're the most famous person in the world. There are publications that are just simply not going to accept your article. That's just the reality. So you have to send to many different publications. Okay, that's the first step. Step two. When you get those emails that tell you that you've been turned down and that your article wasn't a good fit for the publication, ask why. Ask them. Email them back, respond back to the email, and ask, hey, first name or whatever that is, editor, thank you so much for your feedback, and I'm so sorry that this article was not a fit for you guys. But just so I can make sure that, you know, my next pitch that I send to you guys is more in line with your brand, could you please point out specifically exactly what things in my article were not on brand, why it was not a good fit for your publication? If you can give me detailed, actionable, specific advice on this and feedback on this, it would be so much appreciated, and I can certainly draft up an article for you guys next that would be a fit for this publication. So when you do that, again, some of these publications may not respond to you, and that's likely to happen. Or they'll say, hey, hey Rafi, here's a link to our writing guidelines. They'll just give you a link. But you'll be surprised, certain editors will actually take their time to go through your piece and break it down and tell you exactly why your article sucks. And that's really good feedback. Ask them. Ask them why it sucks. Why didn't it get published? And when they send you the article, the link to their writing guidelines, again, that's what I talked about in the last video. Read those guidelines. Read them in detail. Look at the section where you're pitching. Read the articles that have been published and see, does my article belong with the rest of these? Can my article fit into the rest? If it can't, you need to change it. Okay? Step three. When your pitch is getting shot down, what should you do? This is hard to write like this. Talk to other writers. It's a very easy and simple one, right? If you pitch somewhere, let's say you pitch to Entrepreneur Magazine, you get shot down, you ask the editor, no response. What should you do? Well, find other people that write for Entrepreneur and get them on the phone, get them on a Skype call, chat with them. Do whatever you can to get in touch with these people and become their friend, so they can share with you insider secrets on how they got their articles published on that publication. Because chances are, if they're constantly writing stuff that's getting published, they probably know a thing or two better than you do. So asking those people is a really good way for you to basically get, into the club, right? And how do you do that? I talked a little bit about that in the last video too, is that you gotta connect with these people more than just asking them for a favor. You cannot immediately go up and just add them and send them a message saying, hey, I saw that you write for Entrepreneur, I need some advice, can you help me? Don't do that. I mean, that's it may work. I'm not saying it's not gonna work. Some people will genuinely help you. But just add them and connect with them as a person. Get to know them better. Ask them who they are, what do they do, ask them about their column, tell them how much you enjoy reading their stuff. Only then, once you've built that rapport over a few days, maybe weeks even, then can you ask them, hey, I noticed that you write for Entrepreneur. I would love it if you can give me some insiders, tips, and secrets on what I need to do to make sure that I also get to contribute to Entrepreneur Magazine. And from there, you can even do all sorts of other stuff, like pitch them the idea of co-writing a piece. You can pitch them the idea of introducing you to the editor that they work with. So all these kind of things are great ways for you to really get insights about any publication that you want to pitch to that you wouldn't be able to get otherwise. Tip number 4. Publish elsewhere. A lot of publications, what do they want? What they're really looking for is basically actionable advice coming from industry experts that's on brand, basically in line with what the publication publishes on, that helps to educate their audience in an actionable way. That's ultimately what every publication is looking for. So, if you keep sending your stuff and nobody is taking it, pitch it somewhere else, right? So if you pitch your article to Forbes and Forbes says, nope, we're not interested, pitch it to Entrepreneur. As long as you have to change the article maybe, you have to maybe change the article to make sure that it's in line with the Entrepreneur brand, but get it published in Entrepreneur. Then if you pitch to Forbes, Forbes is gonna be like, oh wow, this guy is written for Entrepreneur. We're gonna have to take it more seriously now. The reason that I'm able to get into so many publications is like a snowball effect because I write for so many. So if I go up to Entrepreneur or if I go up to Inc. magazine and say, hey, I write for Forbes, I write for Huffington Post, I write for Inc., I write for Entrepreneur, blah, blah, blah. Would you guys be interested in letting me write for Inc.? Well, they're gonna be like, dang, this guy is published on so many of these sites, he must be an expert in this. Look at his quality of his work. He's an amazing writer. So get your work into other smaller publications. Like, don't shoot for the largest publications, by the way. That should be a tip by itself. If you're just starting out, don't go for, sorry about that, shorthanding, the largest first. Again, this is if you're getting turned down. If you're not, hey, you pitch to Forbes, you pitch to Bloomberg and Reuters, whatever, and they accept it, great, keep going. But if you consistently keep getting turned down by some of these larger publications, then try pitching into some of those smaller publications because they're a little bit more accepting because they don't have as much traffic, maybe not as much audience, and write for other people's blogs. If you know your friend owns a blog, ask them, hey, do you mind if I contribute a piece to your blog? Try to find blogs that have a high domain authority. You can Google that if you don't know what domain authority means. And blogs that have high traffic, which you can track using Alexa. There's an extension on Chrome. As long as they have a high domain authority and high Alexa rank, they're usually going to be good publications for you to pitch to. Now, I'm going to give you guys a list of publications that I want you guys to pitch to because, again, the idea of these videos is to be actionable. I want you to turn off the video once you watch it, turn it off, and go pitch to these publications. I'm going to write them right here. These are some of the easiest publications to get into. If you pitch these editors, there's a good chance you're going to get in. And if you need me to introduce you to the editors of any of these, message me and I'll do my best. But remember what I kept in mind. When you pitch to me, you better be using my own advice. You better not come straight up to me and pitch me something because I may say no. So become my friend first. Alright, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't even know which ones I'm about to suggest to you, but I'm going to give you at least 7. You need to pitch to my website. rafichowdhury.com. That's it. Okay, I'm the editor. It's got a good domain authority. It gets about 1,000 traffic, 1,000 visitors a day. Pitch it to on funnel.com. It's a really good friend of mine. He runs a marketing blog. It gets great traffic. Pitch him. He's going to be interested. Number 3, Goodman Project, another fairly well-known publication. It's got tons of writers and tons of really good content. Pretty easy to get into. I'm good friends with the editor, so email me if you need an introduction. Again, make sure that you pitch me properly, and I'll be happy to make an introduction. Startup Grind. You guys are very familiar with Startup Grind if you're in the US. It's a very large, fairly large organization. They have many chapters all around the US. Their job is to obviously work with entrepreneurs. They do fundraising, they do entrepreneurial events. They do all sorts of good work. They have a really popular blog called Startup Grind blog, and it's a great one to write for. It's got tons of traffic, very respectable publication. Yet it's not super hard to get into this publication as long as you have a really good pitch and you have a good experience as an entrepreneur. Not necessarily as an entrepreneur, but just in business in general. If you can contribute something that's going to help a lot of people. The next one I'm going to recommend is, let's see, it's a good one. Probably Business to Community, another one. Business to Community is a content syndication platform, so you can republish content that's been published elsewhere. Take your content, reach out to them, and make sure that these content pieces are in line with their brand and what they write about, and pitch to them. Chances are they're going to let you syndicate your content, your blog content to their platform, and you can start contributing to Business to Community. Another great website has a domain authority of 80 something. Tons of traffic, very respectable publication, and amazing one to pitch to. What's another good one? I'm trying to find ones that I personally write for. So these are all sites I write for, so I have insiders, obviously, experience, and that's why I'm able to tell you that these are easy. Otherwise, you wouldn't know which ones are easy and which ones are hard. Okay, now this next one, you have to actually be an expert at something. If you haven't published anywhere and you're not known as an expert in your industry, another site, like places haven't cited you and stuff like that, I'm not sure if you'll get in, but it is a good, really solid publication if you do get into it. And it's called Business. Very good publication, all about business, respectable publication. There's tons of good content. There's tons of good readers. They are looking for people that are absolute experts. They call them market experts. So if you are a market expert, you're considered one, and you have a ton of blog posts that you've written, or places you've been interviewed, or conferences you've gone to, or speeches you've given. There's a good chance that this publication is going to accept you. The last one. Forbes. So obviously you guys don't know about Forbes magazine. It's a very, very big publication. Tons of amazing, some of the most successful entrepreneurs are featured on there, right from there. So Forbes has a section called Young Entrepreneur Council. In short, it's called YEC. That's where I contribute. So the Young Entrepreneur Council actually has some very strict rules. I think like their rules are like you have to be under the age of 40 and your company has to have generated at least $1 million in sales. But again, if you meet those criteria, Forbes is an amazing one. And for Forbes, I would ask that you reach out to another Forbes writer who writes for the Young Entrepreneur Council and ask them to recommend you as a writer for Forbes. And if you meet the criteria and things like that, they have an application process. If you do meet it, they're going to go ahead and accept you probably to write for the Young Entrepreneur Council, which then gets published in Forbes. And there's a bunch of other partner sites where they publish their content as well. So that's really it for this video. I think we've covered a lot of stuff. The main thing here is just, again, just like with anything, success really comes when basically you do something consistently for a long period of time, and you do it while like learning from your mistakes and from others' mistakes. So just with like, with with anything else, just like with anything else, when you start out, it's going to be overwhelming. And it's going to be like, man, like it just takes forever, right? It took me a long time to get into these publications. Like I tried for years and years until I started writing for some of these. And even then, I get turned down all the time. Like I pitched to Elite Daily recently and they just turned me down. So I'm going to have to pitch them again. My recommendation is that, actually I need to add one more. I'm sorry, there's a really good one I forgot about. My recommendation is that, I'll put it over here. My recommendation is that you pitch to many different places, you make sure that the content is amazing, that you're really doing a good job reading tons of articles on that publication in the section with where you want to write. You get feedback from other people that write there, and if you get turned down, or even before you get turned down, you can reach out to the editor and say, hey, I would love to contribute a piece, but before I write a draft, would you be able to give me some writing prompts and some feedback on what I should write on? And they will definitely give you something, and they will also, you can build a relationship with those people. That's important too. Another publication that I was going to recommend is called Thrive Global. Thrive Global is Ariana Huffington's new company. She has a blog there. It's becoming popular super quickly. It's going to become one of the largest sites pretty soon. They accept contributors very easily right now. All you have to do is go to their website, and there's an application that you can fill out asking to be a contributor. You have to make a pitch, and if your if your content is in line with what they're looking for, and if you are an expert in what you say and what you do, then there's a good chance that you're going to probably get accepted into Thrive Global as well. But overall, like I said, keep trying, keep pitching out to tons of different publications. Make sure that your content is in line with what the publication actually wants. Make sure to understand the brand message. Like, so many people don't even Google the website and see like what's their tagline. That alone will tell you so much about what the site is about. Read the articles that on that site. Read them again and again and again, and here's a good tip. You can do a test almost. You can write a draft. Let's just say you want to pitch to Thrive Global, and you want to pitch to the business section of Thrive Global. Write a draft of the article that you're going to write. Take another article, take like 5 more articles from Thrive Global from that section. Okay, put them all in a Word doc and give it to a random person and say, hey, can you figure out which of these articles is the one that I wrote and which ones are the ones that someone else wrote? If they can figure out, if they can distinguish yours, okay, if everybody can distinguish yours from the rest of these people, then you're not doing this right. Okay? Make sure that yours